this computer.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining the Self Connection with Kelly Pietro and Ginny Brown, where we have conversations with a group of ascended masters known as the multitude of the greater good.
Yes, Kelly will be asking questions and I will be channeling answers. And the multitude of the greater good is very interested in helping and sharing their knowledge to help all of us learn and heal those things that we've come to Earth to take care of.
All right. So today, Ginny, I think the topics of discussion are going to be around manifesting, intention, and imagination. So there's a lot of talk in the world about how to manifest and how to use your intention and your imagination in order to manifest. And also, separately, but probably alongside of that, is how you use intention and imagination to do energy work or to tune into your psychic abilities. So we'll see how this conversation weaves through those three topics. Let's see if the multitude has a preference on where to start with that being said.
Well, I know that I felt the difference when you were mentioning opening your energy with intention, and trust also comes into that. But let's see what they have to say.
Okay.
It is important to understand, my dear, that all are quite accurate and important. However, in our estimation, that which we can is like help you with is that part of you that it is interested in opening up to yourself. Therefore, it is important to understand that intention and imagination are those things that help you understand more of who you are and connect you on the earth plane with that part of you in spirit. And that is how we would like to proceed, if you do not mind.
I do not mind, of course not. Okay, so then the question I think becomes, how do you use intention and imagination to open oneself to oneself?
We would like each of you to understand that it is done on the feeling level. It is not done on the mental level. If one tries to connect on the mental level, one will connect with one's own mental abilities. However, we can tell you the connection is between the heart and the head. The heart connects with oneself in spirit, and spirit is that part of self that knows who one is, when one is, why one is, and where one is. Spirit, it's like the spirit self or the spirit being of self contains all the information that one will ever need, all the information from one's experiences of being on the earth plane and elsewhere. It is important to understand one has not only lived on the earth plane, one has lived many, it's like many places of being. We would like you to understand that in each life experience, knowledge is gained and knowledge is stored. Knowledge is expanded and knowledge is it's like opened. It is important to understand that as each one continues to allow oneself journey after journey after journey, each one allows more and more information to build, to come, to allow one's growth processes. It is important to understand that as each one allows oneself the growth required, each one allows the all that is to step in. We would highly recommend that each of you take the opportunity to allow yourselves to understand that there is much more to you than that which meets the eye. There is that part of you in spirit, that part of you that knows, that part of you that understands, that part of you that gives, that part of you that allows oneself to expand all parts of self. We would also like you to understand that in each one's expansion process, there is the help required to allow oneself to move forward. There is the help provided in the spiritual plane in order to allow oneself the access to the information required on the physical plane. When one allows oneself the connection with oneself in spirit, one allows oneself the all that is. Do not be concerned, all is love.
Okay. So it seems like what they're saying is intention is all that's needed to connect yourself to parts of yourself. And literally that's all that's needed. And my guess is then, because
Wait,
I think, yeah.
it is important to understand that intention is a part of the process. It is not the whole process. There is the intention. There is also the desire. One can intend to open one's heart to oneself, but if there is not the desire to allow oneself to be all that one can be, it's like it cannot happen on its own. It is important to understand that desire is a part of the process, intention is a part of the process, and imagination is the vehicle. Do not be concerned.
Okay, just a point of clarification. The desire, does that happen here in like, is it me, Kelly, that in this embodied self that has to have the desire, or and that's enough, or is it the part of me in spirit that has to have the desire?
It is important to understand that it has been decided before coming to the earth plane, the possibilities of one's being. When one allows oneself on the earth plane to connect with those possibilities of being, then one can choose on the earth plane that which feels right to them. When it feels right, it cultivates a desire, and the desire on the earth plane connects with the possibility on the spiritual plane. Therefore, when the connection is made, the process begins.
So if the desire is on the earth plane, but the possibility is not in the spiritual plane, then the connection is not made.
It is important to understand that connection can definitely be made. However, it will be a different process than if it is that one has planned to accomplish certain things on the earth plane. We can tell you if one's growth process on the earth plane leads one to desire to experience a higher and greater self, it is definitely a possibility. However, the process is a bit different.
Hmm. Okay, I think I get that. I'm feeling so tired, Ginny. I don't know what this energy is. We just tried to clear it before. I feel like it's supposed to be here for purpose of learning. I don't know. Tried to clear it before we hit record, but it feels even more so.
We can tell you, my dear, your tiredness is your resistance. It is the resistance to being that part of you that you know is there, that part of you that is interested in moving forward. We can tell you when it is that you are ready to move forward, you move forward regardless of what your mind self thinks, regardless of what your physical self thinks. When it is completed on the earth plane, it will manifest. Okay, I want to start this again. When it is
Yeah.
completed on the spiritual plane, it will manifest itself on the earth plane. We can tell you, you are on the earth plane manifesting a great deal. You are on the spiritual plane manifesting a great deal. And when it is, one is in connection with the other, you will complete your process. However, in our estimation, the tiredness comes with the inability to allow yourself to just be. Allow yourself to just relax into who you are, regardless of what another thinks, regardless of what another says, regardless of what another does, and all is love.
Oh, that would hit home. Yeah.
Sense, yeah.
Yeah, I do get triggered on that topic every time we do this, as I know, well, it's a little bit, maybe a little bit different for you, but, yeah, my hypervigilance kicks in to every word I'm saying. I'm hyper aware that it's reaching, well, right now it's not reaching anyone. But the potential is that it could reach unknown numbers of people, and the fear of judgment. I mean, you cannot possibly, I can't even think right now. You can't possibly um plan for, gosh, I'm having such a brain fog right now, or act in a way that's going to please the masses. So it becomes exhausting to be yeah. So I know what they're saying. Thank you. I
Well,
needed to
it
hear
could
that.
be, but the only one you need to please is yourself.
I know. That's hard.
It is. But it's just a matter of acceptance, self-acceptance. It's like, took me a long time to get over the fear, and it's like, this is who I am. This is what I do. This is what I know. And there will be those who are interested or like what I do, and those who think I'm a crackpot. And it doesn't matter because they can think what they want, and I'm still me.
Yeah, it feels like a threat to me when the potential of someone thinking I'm a crackpot, that feels like a visceral threat to my life. Okay, but that's dramatics, so I'm gonna leave that alone. All right, so enough about me, although I think it's probably relevant to what we're talking about. Um, so as long as there is a desire to connect on the earth plane, the potential to connect, well, there's always as long as there's the desire and the intention, the connection will be made. This is what I'm gathering from the last channeling you did before the one where we talked about my tiredness. But it sounds like, and then this is my interpretation, they'll have to say if I'm wrong or not. If there's the desire on the earth plane to connect with oneself in spirit, to connect to your own self deeper, and you create the intention to do so, that connection will be made. However, it seems like if there's a very specific intention on what to expect out of that connection, like, oh, I desire to connect to myself, and I'm sitting here and I'm setting the intention to connect to myself. If there's certain desired outcomes of that connection that are not part of the plan that your soul has for yourself, then the experience might be different from what you expect through that connection. Was I understanding that correctly?
It is important to understand, my dear, there are many interpretations. However, we can tell you there are many things that are planned for many lifetimes that are experienced differently from the planning. If one has chosen to experience something in this lifetime that has not been planned for this lifetime, however, that has been planned for another lifetime, one can allow oneself to access that information. It does not matter on the spiritual level what lifetime completes what process. What is important is that the process is completed when the person or the energy on the earth plane is ready to complete it. We would like you to understand that as you move forward in your process, you have moved back and forth between experiences of this lifetime and many others. You are moving forward in experiences that you have planned for another lifetime of being. However, you had decided that it was right for you in this lifetime. And sometimes you find it most inconvenient or incompatible with who you are. However, we can tell you it is quite right that you experienced it. It is quite right that you pursue it. It is quite right that you move forward in your endeavor of being, and all is love.
So what if I want to change that? That happens on the soul level, not on the ego level, right?
Well, what do you mean? What happens if you want?
Like, what if I decide, like, I'm acutely aware of how uncomfortable this current path that I'm on is for me? Like, it's uncomfortable. Let's say, and I'm not saying I do want to, but just to play with this topic. Let's say my ego self has decided, no, I don't want to do it anymore. I want to change the contract. I want to change the plan. It's not the ego self that decides that, correct? It's the part of me in spirit that decides that.
It is important to understand that one works in conjunction with the other. It's like even if one is not aware of the other, it is important to understand that many things that had been planned for one lifetime did not or could not happen. However, they could happen in another lifetime. It is important to understand there is no set timetable for anything to be experienced or learned or followed. There is that part of one's self that is interested in moving forward and allows oneself on the earth plane to connect with that part of self on the spiritual plane, whether or not one is aware of it on the mental level. Do not be concerned, all is love.
Good to know.
Yeah. And also, if you decide, and I don't mean you specifically, but if someone decides that they're on a path that they don't like, they can always make a turn or change their mind. Nothing is set in stone.
I think that's helpful to hear because I think people can fall into martyrdom or victimhood to be like, it's just my path, this is why I'm here. And it's like this feeling of like, I don't get a say, and so this is just what I have to do. And I think what the multitude is telling us is like, no, you always have a choice.
Yeah. Yeah. You have the power. You're in charge of yourself.
Yeah. Okay, that's good. I'm gonna sit with that for a while. Okay, so what can they talked about imagination is the vehicle for which to carry out the intention through desire. Can they say more about imagination?
It is important to understand that each one knows who one is, when one is. And when one is interested in moving forward and cannot understand how it would happen, one can always picture or imagine how they would feel, or picture how they would be, or allow oneself to move forward in what they would like. When one knows what one would like or would like to see, one is able to open up that channel of being. It is important to understand it is not a mental connection. It is an energetic connection. is the energy of one's desire connecting with the energy of oneself and spirit. That is how it works. It is quite difficult for one on the earth plane to understand the energetic component of being. However, we can tell you that is where 99.9% of the action takes place.
So that kind of leads into manifestation a bit, right? So if you were, and again, this is for someone who's like aware that it's a possibility that imagination can become reality versus someone who doesn't have that concept and is just dreaming ahead of their selves, right? Dreaming of a life of what they want. So is what they're saying, like, imagination can help you to manifest your desires, or are they saying something else?
We would like you to understand, my dear, that much is contained within one's imagination. However, imagination alone cannot allow one to move forward on the earth plane. It is a matter of understanding. Imagination has an energetic component, and on the earth plane, there is that physical part of self that needs one to move oneself along. However, an imagination can guide someone sometime if their action is like one in conjunction with their desire. Do not be concerned, all is love.
Okay, so I think what I got from that was like, yeah, it's not enough to just imagine something into being. You also have to take action. That it's like a partnership. They work in conjunction with one another. That because there are people out there that's like, I'm gonna make a storyboard and I'm gonna manifest it into being, but they don't do anything to actually move that energy and intention forward. They just are waiting for it to drop in their lap magically.
But I also think there is that feeling part of it. They want it, they make the board, the vision board, and they say, this is what's going to happen. This is what I want. It'll come. But for me, what I've learned over time is that you have to have the feeling as well as the desire. You have to feel that and allow it to come to you. It can't just come, and if you take an action for it to come, that's fine. However, you still have to feel the desire for it to happen. That's my understanding.
Yeah, and I think that's a really good point because if you are unable to embody the feeling and instead you're embodying feelings of doubt, low self-worth, or or skepticism, it's not possible, then you're not stepping into the energy of allowing.
Right.
That would help to bring it forward in conjunction with your actions that perpetuate your desire and help you to get it.
Mhm. Yeah, and if you're in that lower energy, it's like the law of attraction. You're going to attract to you what your energy is calling forth, not what your mind is calling.
I'm glad you brought up law of attraction. I'd love for the multitude to, hang on, let me think of the right words here. Explain the truth about the law of attraction and manifestation.
We're saying we would be happy to do that. It is
Thank you.
important for you to understand that there is such a thing as the law of attraction. However, it is not as one understands it on the earth plane. It is that part of self that allows oneself to move forward in one's own desires. When one understands that the desire is on the energetic level and the attraction is on the energetic level, one will allow oneself to bring forth the energetic alignment. It is the energetic alignment that allows for the manifestation. And excuse me, in our estimation, It is right that you understand that it is the law of attraction. However, the attraction is, it's like within oneself for oneself. It is that part of self that says, hey, I'm here on the earth plane. I'm doing what I've come to do, and I want more. I'm ready for more, and I need more. And when one is in that energetic frame of mind, one is able to bring forth the energetic part of self to allow that to happen. However, if one says, I'm on the earth plane, I'm doing what I've come to do, and I'm quite happy here. However, I would like to have AYZ. And when one says AYZ, one allows one to understand AYZ as possible, but there is no energetic connection behind oneself and AYZ. When one says, I am in the connection with my desire for AYZ, and I am willing to move forth in that direction. One will allow oneself to move forth in that direction. It is the desire, it is the allowing, it is the attraction of the energy of self. Do not be concerned. All is love.
Okay, so what comes to mind as we're channeling that message is there may be parts of us that disallow that attraction. And what comes to mind for me is like what most people would call energy blockages. I don't tend to like that term, but I think about how we may be resonating with certain energies that disallow the attraction. And that when you do energy healing work to release that vibration, you are now closer in alignment to the allowing of the attraction. Do you understand, Jenny, what I mean by that?
Um, Kind of.
All right, let me give an example because I want the multitude to also like
You're talking about
correct.
resistance?
What's that? It's
Resist.
kind of like resistance, but so like let's say for example, okay, everyone wants abundance, right? That's like a thing we'll talk about. I want to manifest abundance. I'm picking broad terms that you hear out in the world so that people, our listeners, can relate. So let's say I want to attract abundance. I want to manifest abundance. But there may be energies that I'm embodying, such as low self-worth or scarcity consciousness, and it would be different from each person. That when we overcome those things, whether it's through life circumstances or intentional energy work, or both, sometimes it feels like it's got to be both, that like perhaps those energies keep us from manifesting abundance because we're in resonance with those energies. And then when we work through those energies, it kind of like opens the door, releases a blockage to allow the abundance to come to be manifested. Is that way of thinking about energy and what we're talking about, is that a good and accurate way of understanding how energy works and how all that we're talking about operates?
It is important to understand there are those parts of selves that have come to the earth plane for expansion. And there are those parts of selves that have come to the earth plane to allow one's growth processes. When one's lack of expansion, it's like gets in the way of one's growth processes, one cannot move forward. It is important to understand that the expansion part is just as important as the growth part. When one allows oneself the expansion of being, one allows the all that is to step in and the energetic part of self to grow. It is important to understand that it is in the expansion where there is the energetic attraction. When one allows oneself the growth required, one can allow the attraction to manifest. However, we can tell you, it is not it's not a party to allowing oneself to grow. It is the ability to allow the expansion of oneself in our estimation. It is about allowing oneself the ability to move forward. Whether it can be manifested on the earth plane or not is unimportant. What matters is the desire and the understanding that there is much allowed on the earth plane that is not yet understood by the earthly mind. We can tell you in our estimation, when one believes there is a problem, there is a problem. And when one believes that there is a possibility of moving forward in whatever direction or indication of being that they wish, they can move forward. In our estimation, I guess the word was possibility as well. In our estimation, it is important to understand each one has the ability of possibility. Do not be concerned, all is love.
I love that. That's a great distinction.
It's good.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like the feeling of expansion feels really important.
I think sometimes for me as well, I don't understand exactly what expansion is. So you don't
I
mind.
guess when I hear it, I think of that feeling of like it's like possibility plus joy plus alignment plus peace. I don't know. It feels like this. Yeah, I don't know how to put it into words. My understanding of expansion. I mean, I think of it too as like, I mean, you could think of it as like expanding awareness, expanding understanding and possibility. But when I think of expansion, I think of like someone's energy opening up and like, ah, like, no, what were you gonna say?
We can tell you, my dear, that as it is that you believe expansion is like that process for you, it is that process for you. However, there is the manifestation of expansion that can be quite different. Sometimes the expansion is due to life circumstances where one is forced to take a look at who they are, what they want, and what they need. And sometimes it is about allowing oneself to just feel one's feelings. When one feels one's feelings, one is able to move oneself forward in the direction of their choosing. However, if one is unable or unwilling to feel those feelings of, it's like digression, insulation, inability to be who they are, unable to know what's what, one can determine on the spiritual level that they are unwilling, unable, or unready to move to the next step. We can tell you there are many steps in the process, and each one is important. Therefore, in our estimation, it is important for one to understand that they are on the earth plane for growth, love, care, and understanding, and feeling the processes, feeling the feelings. Is a very important part of the process of growth, love, care, and expansion. Do not be concerned, all is love. And sometimes, I think sometimes you just need to be willing to experience it. And that can help clear those blocks that you're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we're starting to get a real understanding, or hopefully folks are starting to, through this episode, this channeling, how important the feeling state is to growth, expansion, moving oneself forward,
Healing.
and yeah, healing, and therefore manifesting,
Right.
which is the buzzword.
Yeah.
So, Ginny, do you have any questions on this topic to add?
I don't think so. I think, I've said what I needed to say when it came up.
Okay.
Here.
Is there, yeah,
We can tell you, my dear, there is much to be learned and discussed regarding the topic of manifestation. However, each one is not ready to pursue that process. Some are interested in learning, some are interested in experiencing, some are interested in healing, and not everyone is interested in manifesting. However, manifesting is done regardless of why one has come to the earth plane. Therefore, it cannot be stopped. It can only move forward. And if it is that one is interested in saying, I don't want to grow anymore, I'm okay where I am, and I will just allow myself to live here, I'm perfectly happy. One will find oneself in circumstances, allowing oneself to feel those feelings, allowing oneself the growth required, regardless of what their physical mind determines. Do not be concerned, all is love.
that's the thing to remember. All is love, even when it doesn't feel like it.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. My last question was going to be, do they have anything else to say on the topic? But I think they just
Oh,
did.
saying, oh, we do.
Okay.
You always know
Well,
that you always do.
yeah.
We can tell you, my dear, that we are most pleased that you have brought up the subject of manifestation, as there is a great deal of misinformation regarding manifestation. If one wants to allow oneself to move forward, one is able to do so regardless of where one is, what one is, how one is on the earth plane. It is a desire from within. It is that part of self that says, I'm ready to move forward. I may be happy where I am. I may not be happy where I am. However, it is time for me to make a change within myself. It is not an outside manifestation of being, one's ability to earn money or buy a house or move from place to place. What one is experiencing is the manifestation of oneself on a higher and greater level of being. And when one can manifest within oneself a higher energetic level of being, one will bring to oneself that which the energy allows. And when one allows, one is able to grow, one is able to be, one is able to expand. It is quite perfect indeed. Do not be concerned. Thank you very much for asking, and all is love.
Well, thank you for answering. Well, I think that's a good place to stop, Jenny. What do you say?
Okay, I don't have anything else to add to that.
Me neither. I'm sure something will come up down the road, but I think that's a good intro to,
Yeah, I'm wondering it was manifestation, intention, and
oh, imagination.
so I'm wondering where
We did.
they talked about imagination, but I'm not so
Yeah.
sure about intention. Because they could.
Okay. Well, let's ask them. Um, what would they like to add to the conversation as it pertains to intention?
We would like you to understand that each and every one steps forward in their own knowing on the physical level, and each one steps forward in their own knowing on the spiritual or energetic level. When one moves forward with the intention of being the best that one can be, knowing that they are doing the best that they can do, they are allowing the manifestation of intention, and all is love. Do not be concerned. When one is ready to move, one moves. When one is ready to grow, one grows. And when one is ready to allow, one allows. Do not be concerned. All is love.
Okay. Okay, one last question, because it was also woven in there. If there's anything as it relates to this conversation, the importance of trusting oneself.
We would like you to understand that it is quite important for one to trust in one's own knowing, one's own understanding, one's own allowance of being. When one says, okay, I can do this, I can do that, but I'm not so sure I want to do, the next thing. We can tell you it does not matter. What matters is that one understands that the trust part of self comes from one's own ability to be who one is. It does not come from one's own ability to do what one knows or does. It is important to understand that when one knows who one is, what one wants, what one needs, that desire, that heartfelt ability comes from one's own knowing of self. And when one can come from that own knowing of self, one is able to trust that one knows who one is, what one wants, and when one, is. In our estimation, it is important to understand there is that part of self that says, okay, I'm not sure where I want to go, but I know it's the best I can do. I'm not sure that this is the right path for me, but at this moment, it's the best that I can do. We can tell you that when it is one moves forward from the sense of self that says, this is where I am, this is who I am, this is what I want. It's like, I don't know the outcome at this moment. However, I trust that I'm doing the best for me that I can do. In our estimation, we would like you to understand it is about doing the best that you can do for yourself and others. And when you come from that place of knowing that this is the best I can do, regardless of what another thinks, of what another says, what another does, that is the way to move oneself forward in and within oneself. Do not be concerned, all is love. So,
Good one.
okay, good.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to do sometimes, but it's good advice.
Yeah, it's very hard to do.
Yeah.
And that comes, I think you said something earlier about one's self-worth and believing that one's not good enough, that type of thing. So that's,
Yeah.
I think it's hard to learn to know who you are when you are and trust that part of you.
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes you just have to go through experiences and come out the other end whole to say, oh, okay, I was okay through that. I can do that. I am safe. I am this, I am that.
Right.
To learn who you are. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
all right, Jenny, I think that that's a good episode right there. Rounds it out nicely.
Okay. No other
Um,
questions from you?
no other questions from me. None from you?
No, I'm good. Uh,
Mm,
we have one other thing we would like to add, if you do not mind.
please do.
We would like each of you to understand that as you move forward in this process of your being on the earth plane, you are not only allowing yourselves to grow, You are allowing each and every other one to grow, as in your sharing of your information and our information, you are doing a great deal to change the energetic atmosphere on the earth plane. Do not be concerned, all is love.
Well, thank you. And is that regardless if we actually share these episodes or not?
Well, the energy's out there anyway.
Yeah, exactly. We'll get it out there soon. Yeah.
We'll share, don't worry.
Yep.
All
All
right.
right. Well, thank you to the multitude for all of their guidance and their wisdom and sharing everything they shared today. Grateful for that.
Yes. And thank you too, Kelly, for all your
And
questions.
thank you for channeling.
You're welcome. We'll see
All
you
right, everyone.
next time.
Thanks for joining me. We'll see you next time on the Self Connection.
Bye-bye.